Hey there, Heather Ho there, it's Joe Cutter. I'm welcoming you to yet another Cutter Top 10 video, and we will be doing the top 10 NFL draft steals of all time. Sometimes the best players are not taken in the first round, second round, or even the third round, and you'd be snoring away, and then basically you'll be the last man standing as I hiccup. But these are the best draft steals of all time, and there's some doozies. So anyway, number 10 on the list is Mark Bavaro. Bavaro. Pick number 100 in the 1985 draft. The 1985 draft, of course, having Bruce Smith being picked number 1 overall in the year of my birth. But the fact is that Mark Bavaro was a big tight end, and he actually was the tight end the Giants needed to have another pass option other than the wide receivers like Sterling Shepard and a few other people. I think. Was there going to be a Shepard on the Giants? I think there was. But anyway, yeah, Mark Bavaro was pivotal. He got 2 Super Bowl rings in 1987 and 1991, and he loved it. He was a fourth round pick, and it worked. Number 9 is Stefon Diggs for the Minnesota Vikings. He was a fifth round pick, number 146 overall. Stefon Diggs, you know him as a New England Patriots receiver, like, of course, the shirt entails. I sure know that. But the fact is that, yeah, Stefon Diggs was big. I kept thinking Diggs was in the CFL for a while, but I'm probably wrong. Definitely wrong. Must be someone else with Stefon. But yeah, or the Force. But Stefon Diggs is big. He's known for his clutch performances, route running, and helping teams like the Bills and the Dolphins do well, and of course the Pats. Number 8 is Bart Starr, picked in the 17th round, 200th overall. Now you'll be thinking, hang on a minute, those numbers don't make sense. Like, pick 200 shouldn't be the 17th round. Well, we got to remember, the NFL only was like 8 to 10 teams at one time. And then they added teams, a few expansion teams, and then the AFL came crawling. 26 teams in all. And, you know, in the 17th round, that's just humanly impossible. Now you have 7 rounds of draft picks, but yeah, and like 210 people at least. But yeah, Bart Starr was not really picked well. Alabama had a decent team in the 50s, and Bart Starr was hoping to get out of there and help a team out. Green Bay picked him up, and then all of a sudden, everyone was eating freaking krill. As Starr led the Packers to 5 NFL championships, including 2 Super Bowls. Now, the NFL championship was much different than the Super Bowl. You know, the NFL was its own standalone league and did not challenge the AFL for supremacy. But yeah, Bart Starr had 5 rings on his hand and all that. Number 7 is Deacon Jones. 14th round, 186 overall, 1961. The LA Rams had some pretty good players, but they needed a good defender. And Deacon Jones, coming out of a small black college, I can't remember which one off the top of my head, was big. He coined the term sack, as in getting to the quarterback before he managed to throw the ball away or anything. So this was big. And he became one of the most feared defensive linemen ever. So what ended up happening for Deacon is that he helped the fearsome foursome for the Rams alongside Rosie Greer, Lamar Lundy, and Lamar Lathan. I think I got that right. He helped the Rams do well in the 1960s and become Super Bowl contenders, not getting to the Super Bowl because the Rams were full of bad luck till 1980. But you get my picture. Number 6 is Jason Kelce, recently retired from the Philadelphia Eagles, but he was picked 191st overall, 6th round in 2011. The Eagles didn't know what they were going to get with this guy from the University of Cincy at center. You know, center is basically you hike the ball and then you are the main offensive lineman to try to make sure that the quarterback can throw the ball or the running back can get through a hole and run. Kelce proved his tireless hard work ethic and helped the Eagles become one of the best teams around. He got a Super Bowl ring, although he could have had a second one if he had not retired in the 2024 season. But yeah, Kelsey got a Super Bowl ring. That's good for him. And of course, he's the older brother of Travis, who's a Kansas City mainstay at tight end, and of course, a Swiftie. Ugh. Number 5 is Richard Sherman, picked 154th overall, 2011 from the Seattle Seahawks. So anyway, Richard Sherman was in the 5th round, 154th overall. But what's even more impressive with Richard Sherman is that, his career with the University of Stanford. He wasn't always a good defender. He was actually a wide receiver for one point. Case in point was in 2007 when Stanford put that upset over USC being favored. USC was favored by 42 points, as they were the number one team. Stanford with Trevita Pritchard came into the game and threw a big fourth down pass. That fourth down pass was to Richard Sherman, who managed to beat the first down line. And then that's when Stanford scored the winning touchdown. But yeah, he did the Legion of Boom defense and became an all-pro cornerback. So anyway, yeah, he was part of the Legion of Boom defense for Seattle, winning the title in 2014, but taking second in 2015. Number 4 is Antonio Brown from the Pittsburgh Steelers, picked 195, number 195 from 2010. He was a 6th-round pick, a wide receiver who nobody wanted. I think he went to Central Michigan or something. But yeah, Pittsburgh thought he was good, and he was a good player. He became one of the league's most dominant receivers in his prime years, and Pittsburgh loved him for him. And his touchdown celebrations were amazing. And then, once he left Pittsburgh out of a contract dispute, he went downhill. He was a partial member of the New England Patriots and then a Tampa Bay Bucks, in which he famously retired in the middle of a game and basically in the third quarter actually was seen on the TV cameras without his uniform, just like high fiving fans and all that. So it was just weird. It was just one of the worst meltdowns you can have and all that. Number 3 is Shannon Sharpe, picked 192 in 1990 for the Denver Broncos. Denver needed some help, but in the 7th round, he was picked from, what is it, South Carolina State or something like that? Shannon Sharpe? Or Savannah State, I think it was. But yeah, Shannon Sharpe was huge. His brother Sterling, his older brother Sterling, were leading the NFL in receptions with the Green Bay Packers. And of course, Sterling would suffered that massive injury in 1994. Was it 94 or 93? I think it was 94, when he cut across the middle and was met by the Detroit lineman and basically suffered a massive injury that ruined his season. And even Shannon, who is part of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, said that Sterling deserved a spot. If he wasn't hurt, he would have been in the Hall of Fame instead of him. But yeah, Shannon was big with the tight end for Denver. That's what they needed in number 87, and a massive prolific talker, basically trash talker. Number 2 is TD, Terrell Davis, picked 196 overall, 6th-rounder from the University of Georgia to the Denver Broncos. Denver was a good team. Like, John Elway led them to 3 Super Bowl appearances, but 3 Super Bowl losses. Terrell Davis helped Denver actually get a good running back. Denver tried to get a good running game, but failed miserably. And then the University of Georgia brought in Terrell Davis, and then he got to the 6th-round pick. However, people were eating massive amounts of crow when he became Super Bowl MVP in Super Bowl 32 in 1998, when the Broncos uprooted the Green Bay Packers in the Super Bowl. It was like one of the most unbelievable games of all time and everything else. So that was what needed to be done, and TD was integral. They won back-to-back titles. He got to the Hall of Fame, and he did all that for grain of salt. And finally, number 1, of course, the guy I'm wearing, number 12, Tom Brady. Arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. Maybe Joe Montana, but yeah, greatest of his time. He was picked in the 6th round, 199th overall. Went on to do a great career. So I have to enter in my thing. There you go. Quarterbacks picked before Tom Brady. Now there's 6 quarterbacks and all that. The 6 quarterbacks were Chad Pennington from the University of Marshall, 18th overall to the Jets, although he did do well with the Jets at times. Giovanni Carmazzi, 65th overall, I think to San Francisco. I can't remember what school Carmazzi went to. I would say Syracuse, but I'm probably wrong. Chris Redman, 75th overall from the University of Louisville, I think to the Ravens. T. Martin, 163rd overall to the I can't remember, to the Steelers, I think, if I remember right. He did lead Tennessee to the national title that year. Mark Bulger, 168th overall from West Virginia to the Rams, although that worked out because after Warner left, Bulger was in. And then Spurgeon the Surgeon Wynn, who would do much better as a CFL quarterback. But yeah, that was who was picked before Tom Terrific and all that. I mean, you look at it this way: the Jets would definitely have made a Super Bowl for the first time since 1969. The Browns, well, they were the Browns. Like they should have had them. The Niners, yeah, I don't think he would have uprooted Jeff Garcia that much. The Steelers had quarterback problems before Tommy Maddox came back in the league. So yeah, he could have helped a lot of franchises out. But Tom Brady wasn't really prolifically that high. I mean, he was the backup in 2001 when Drew Bledsoe was knocked out of bounds by Mo Lewis of the Jets. He came out, and here comes Brady. And he helped New England win the division with an 11-5 mark and in a divisional round game against the Raiders. The whole Tuck rule game. Sorry, Raider fans. And then came the big moment when in the Super Bowl, he was the starting quarterback. He led the Pats down the field for Vinatieri's winning field goal. And then, Brady Magic came through. 2007 was a great year. Most passing touchdowns in a year. Randy Moss, most receiving touchdowns in a year. Led them to the Super Bowl, but lost to the Giants. And then, of course, he injured himself, his ACL, first game of the season against the Chiefs in 2008. That led because the Pats were not really that great without him. Although Matt Castle tried his best. And then, Tom Terrific doing everything he did. It took till 2015 for the Pats to finally win another Super Bowl. But, I mean, dude, that was number 4 for him. And, he was a Renaissance man. He even led the Bucks to the Super Bowl title. I don't really want to talk about it. But that's what happened. And Tom Terrific is the pivot of all pivots. And a great draft steal. Anyhow, Jeff Diamond to do.